Hi dear readers, this is Simona. In this video I'm going to share with you information about Sagittarius Ascendant. In this video, I'm going to talk about the appearance, character features, the best occupation, and other aspects of Sagittarius Ascendant natives. The skull of Sagittarians is quite long and well proportioned. The forehead is high and hair is far back from the temples. They have an open, alert, and sincere appearance, yet the eyes may have a somewhat dreamy look. The first famous person that comes to mind with Sagittarius Ascendant is Prince William. He also has Neptune as well as Lilith conjunct his ascendant, and his natal chart is extremely interesting. He's very tall, has broad, open features, and looks jovial, very true of Sagittarius rising people. Also, when he was younger, his chin was pointed, but now he has a heavier looking jaw because of overeating tendencies, which are again very Sagittarian. Sagittarian people often overeat, and then with years they end up looking stout. And I don't know, I think that Oprah Winfrey was always chubby, but she also was struggling with weight problems all her life, and her ascendant is also Sagittarius. The nose of a pure Sagittarian is long and straight. The mouth may look well-shaped, sometimes tending towards fullness. The chin is pointed and narrow. But if Jupiter is in the first house too, the jaw may look heavy. Men often lose hair later in life, which is also the case with Leo and Aries natives, all having the fire element in common. And we can see the example of a male baldness in Prince William again. They also tend to gain weight as they age, as they like to indulge in food. They look cheerful and friendly. The eyes of a pure Sagittarian are either light brown or gray. Sometimes hair has a reddish-brown tinge. The complexion is slightly flushed, rosy, but sometimes it can also be very pale. Because the presence of Jupiter in the first house can give an aquiline nose, this type can sometimes be confused with a masculine Cancer type. So most people most people interested in astrology know about the full moon Cancer type persons. But there are two types of Cancer ascendant people, which you can find out from my other video about Cancer ascendant. However, it's rare for the nose to be aquiline for Sagittarius rising people because it's normally straight, and the complexion is usually rosy and not pale. This complexion is again seen in the case of Prince William, but for example, Elvis Presley is Sagittarius rising, and from the pictures that I've seen of him, and I'm not a fan of him, so I did not see many pictures, but his complexion looked quite pale. He was tall with broad forehead and long skull. He was struggling with weight problems. His chin was quite pointy, but again, because of overeating, it looked round, and his lips were full, which is sometimes the case with Sagittarius rising people. Usually the person is tall or very tall with Sagittarius rising, and the figure beautiful and well proportioned. It looks active, unlike that of Libra, and the temperament can be somewhat nervous, again unlike the mentioned sign. Also, the limbs look physically strong, as though they would be capable of completing some kind of work. So I'm telling this because some people can confuse Libra rising figure with Sagittarius rising figure. But Libra rising figure is very delicate and beautiful, but it looks more like, it doesn't look athletic. There is often restlessness similar to that of Gemini. And though these two signs are opposites, Sagittarius and Gemini, they do share this characteristic as well as the need for freedom. I personally find that the opposite signs often complement each other rather than oppose one another. Sometimes the bodies of Sagittarians appear to be moving without any purpose, just for the sake of being active, and that's again the case with Gemini people also. Their mental activity is great and curiosity never-ending, which is again the case with Gemini people also. They find life very interesting, and all their lives they go about exploring it and learning new things. Sagittarians delve deep and joyfully into the subjects they love, but usually then other subjects attract their attention and they don't complete the study of the previous one. They are so full of enthusiasm about life that they inspire others to see life in a sunnier way. And for example, I have a Sagittarian friend on my personal Facebook, and I believe he might be double Sagittarian, because his actions are very Sagittarian also, and not only who he is in his heart. And I met him a few times. He's from India, Ayurvedic doctor, and all his life is about visiting different places. Usually he stays in India, visiting remote areas of India like Himalayan mountains, or sometimes he travels abroad too, and he's exploring different herbs they're found, because he's an Ayurvedic doctor and he teaches people through his Facebook as a result of his explorations, and these are very, very Sagittarian qualities. So their enthusiasm and joy for life totally shows in everything they do, and this alone can inspire others just to have more faith in life and to enjoy life more. They like to debate and usually easily see weak points of the opponent. However, they may not be in touch with the feelings of an opponent and can emotionally wound him or her, but without such an intention. Princess Diana also has Sagittarius rising, like her son William, and also Prince Harry has his ascendant close to Sagittarius in Capricorn apparently. This makes me think that the charts of all three are correct, as family charts tend to be similar. Sagittarians are honest people and they dislike those who are two-faced. Their honesty and purity allows them to feel when people are dishonest or hide something. They are also sensitive to the surroundings and acutely feel any sort of disharmony. Sagittarians are courageous, daring, restless, and sometimes their moods can change fast. Moods can be exaggerated. Women of the sign can easily cry in a dramatic way, and then a few minutes later they can laugh. Because of their honesty, sometimes Sagittarians are disliked because some people don't want to hear the truth about themselves. Also, it's often that Sagittarians tend to make remarks that end up hurting others because they have the ability to address the greatest insecurities of other people, and they do that quite unconsciously. In general, the natives are calm, cheerful, optimistic, and this keeps them young. They can retain that childlikeness into their old age. So usually Sagittarians, even when they're old in years, look quite young because of their joy of life and constant explorations of this reality. Marlon, I don't know if I will pronounce that right, Marlon Brando has a strong Sagittarius ascendant. It's a very old actor of the past, with Jupiter in the sign too, in the ascendant, and this is reflected by his appearance of a slightly big nose, fuller lips, and a more pronounced jaw. However, he's also very influenced by Aries, having his sun and moon there also, and I knew that even before seeing his chart, and then I got it confirmed when I checked his chart, because once you get really familiar with how ascendants determine the look, you can often guess what kind of ascendant the person has. Sagittarians operate in two different manners depending on whether they are awakened or not. If they're awakened, they will be, if they're not awakened, they will be gamblers, always willing to risk and take a chance, always seeking for new adventures and trying to assert their freedom. But if they're awakened or awakening, their lives will be about seeking truth and exploring different spiritual doctrines. Sometimes they can get too involved in certain doctrines, leading to extremist views, and they like to explore the culture and religions of other countries as well. They do well in money usually unless there are strong planetary afflictions. They see an opportunity to make money and directly go for it, and this makes their wealth grow. And that's their sign, the arrow. When they see the opportunity, they straight away go for it. They are also able to strip down the complex problem to bare bones, and this again makes them succeed financially and in general in life. If the type is very undeveloped, however, he will be a gambler and make financial decisions too hastily, resulting in losses. They do well in politics as leaders. They don't like work that's all about small detail because they are so often exploring the outdoors. They get in touch with various kinds of people and get to know their problems. They therefore often become involved in some social cause to better the condition of certain people. They make friends with people they are interested in and become loyal friends if the relationship gets deeper. And here I compiled some of the pictures of pre-plastic surgery Kim Kardashian, who is also Sagittarius rising, and it's very obvious from her pre-plastic surgery. And also we can see scorpionic influence in her face because she has the sun, I think, let me check, the sun in the last degrees of Libra, but we can see that her elongated face and the shape of the nose is Sagittarian-like. She also has Neptune in her first house, which makes her seem very ideal, elusive, public figure, and people love to copy her appearance. And the same is the case with Marilyn Monroe, who also had Neptune in the first house. So this is what usually happens when people have Neptune in the first house. They're able to project that kind of illusory, idealistic persona that other people like to copy because it's like a concept. It's not even like a person anymore. They understand Sagittarian Ascendant natives understand human nature well, so they can do any kind of job related to helping others, like psychologists or counselors. They're also excellent salespeople because enthusiasm sells, and they're very enthusiastic. Since their ruling planet is Jupiter, often Sagittarians get involved in religion, often becoming charismatic leaders with the focus on improving people's lives. In intimate relationships, they can be loyal and reliable if the other half understands their adventure-seeking, freedom-loving, expansive, and genuine nature. They find it difficult to deal with jealousy, and they resent restriction of any kind. Often they end up bachelors because of their love of freedom, but being in a relationship is better for them as it helps them develop their emotional nature, which is often lacking. If their freedom is restricted, they will not necessarily rebel. If they see that they have not much choice, they will outwardly submit, but in the end, either the breakup will happen or they will end up bitter and cynical about relationships. However, even in marriage, they are not much attached to home, but hold travels, ideologies, and outdoors dear to heart. So they're definitely not domestic people like Taurus and Cancer natives are. Judy Foster is Sagittarius rising. She has the classical Sagittarian broad forehead, and her angular features are given by a heavy Scorpio in her chart. As children, Sagittarians are active and have a million questions, similarly to that of Virgo natives. They should be given answers to keep their intelligence growing, because otherwise the inquiry will turn within, and for a child this can lead to too much self-preoccupation and shutting off the world. Most importantly, their emotional nature should be stimulated so that it develops as fully as possible. Therefore, their feelings should never get suppressed. Sagittarian children are open and genuine. They are optimistic, trusting, and selfless. Their optimism and joy of life should never be curbed, but it should be wisely directed. They should be taught not to simply trust everyone, and they should be told that some people aren't telling the truth. They should be taught to be a little bit more guarded about making new friends. Ideally, they should be given pets, especially dogs, rather than toys to play with. They may be good at horse riding from an early age. They prefer playing outside to reading books at home. They learn from life this way more than through books. They should be allowed to choose what they want to do in life, and wise guidance. Oh, my dog is there. Oh no, that's not my dog. That's another person's dog. Let me see. And wise guidance should be given for them to realize their desires. Sagittarians often love the great outdoors. They love being active, being engaged in various sports and outdoor activities. Okay, I thought maybe my boyfriend is there, but no. So they should be engaged in various sports and outdoor activities like hunting, climbing mountains, traveling, jogging. They need to be careful about being suddenly exposed to very different weather conditions, as this often makes them sick. However, they usually avoid sports that involve fighting, as they try to avoid serious bodily injuries. I've read that some people think Sagittarians are clumsy, but actually their sign is the arrow and the hunter. Their movement is well thought out and agile. Their health can get worse if they are too active mentally or physically, because then they scatter their forces and end up depleted. However, it's usual for these natives to heal because they do have a lot of energy, and usually they live till old age. Another health danger of Sagittarians is feeling that they are deprived of freedom, or if they cannot regularly recharge outdoors. If their energy is depleted, they often suffer from indigestion, lower back, hip or leg pain, gout, rheumatism, and problems with lungs and nerves. They may experience accidents to the hips, feet, hands, and it's common for them to dislocate or sprain their joints because of being engaged in outdoor activities. They sometimes experience paralysis due to the depletion of nerves. They sometimes are not economical when it comes to preserving their vital force. If these natives lead temperate lives, however, they will reach old age, and it's quite easy for them to do so. It's told that the conscious and subconscious minds of Sagittarians work in union with each other. Therefore, these natives can sometimes give accurate prophecies. They can achieve their goals by being able to see how the activity develops from the beginning till the end, and then directly going for execution. However, they will only accomplish the goal if they resist the temptation to be distracted by new temptations that always come. In some astrology books, it's told that Sagittarians tend to hold orthodox views so that they are accepted by the masses, but deep within that they may not. They basically don't believe in that view. But I don't find this to be the case. It's more the case with Capricorn natives. I find that Sagittarius Ascendants are usually the ones that criticize religions which don't make sense. They do not emotionally react to rituals and religious appeals, and they use their logic to determine determine if religion holds any validity or not. They are truth seekers at heart, and so for them, spirituality appeals, but it's not for the reason of belonging to some group, but to find the truth. They also like to study philosophy for this reason. They disagree with public opinion if they know it's not true. They are courageous, so it's not a big deal for them to stand alone in their views. Sagittarians are also the most optimistic sign of all, and the second most optimistic sign is Leo. The sign represents an attempt to liberate oneself from animal nature. Half man, half horse. That's why many developed Sagittarians are truth seekers. Often, even the ones that were undeveloped, the ones that were only interested in sports, gambling, and adventures, turn more inwards when the Middle Age is reached to understand themselves. Then they get interested in philosophies and religions of the world. So they still seek outside, but it's kind of more about spirituality for those who are not developed. Their weakness is to always be on the pursuit of something new, because this prevents them from true achievement. They are not likely to stick to some pursuit long enough to make true progress. Whilst they are involved in something new and different catches their fancy, and they start pursuing that. This results in knowledge that is various but not deep, so that's one of the weaknesses that Sagittarians have. One of the faults, another fault of the natives, is that they can be too hasty in action, which results in mistakes. So they have no problem going for goals, but sometimes they don't think long enough, and therefore end up making mistakes. If they can cultivate patience, therefore, this will help a lot in life for them. They like to see people happy, so sometimes they make promises to make them happy, but then don't actually carry them out. So again, this is another weakness that they have. Sometimes they lack organization and discipline, and sometimes they procrastinate. The lack of order makes them scatter forces. But I don't find this to be the case. Again, I found this in some astrology books, so I wrote it down, but maybe I should even edit it out. Yeah, they do sometimes lack organization and discipline, it's true, but I don't find it true that they procrastinate. It's not often the case, so I will delete that. The lack of order makes them scatter forces. This is the truth. So they lack organization and discipline. The lack of order makes them scatter forces. They also often lack tact, therefore insulting others without even intending so. Sagittarian women often lack femininity, being courageous, outgoing leaders, and being into sports. So that is the end of the article. I did not write the conclusion, but this is all the information that I gathered from astrology books as well as my own astrological practice about Sagittarius rising people. And if you are Sagittarius rising, and if you wish to add further qualities of them or comment on the ones that I've mentioned, please do so in the comments below. And especially you can let me know the opinion if you're Sagittarius rising, or you know any other people of this sign, ascendant sign, whether they tend to procrastinate or not, because in my experience I find that they don't. But let me know what your opinion is. Thank you for watching this video. Have a great day. Take care.